Okay, welcome back everyone. I thought it would be really good if I can balance some more complicated equations with you. And hopefully if I can do that, if you can master the more complicated ones, I think you will be fine for all the other equations that you're going to encounter. So this one looks a little scary, all these parentheses and subscripts everywhere. So we have aluminum nitrate, sodium hydroxide, to give you aluminum hydroxide and sodium nitrate. So let us look at the reactant side and the product side. On the reactant side, we have 1 aluminum. Remember the parentheses. In this case, we have 3 nitrogen and 9 oxygen. We have 1 sodium, 1 oxygen, 1 hydrogen. Now, so that you don't get confused, you notice how you have the 1 oxygen and the 9 oxygen. Please remember, you've got 10 in total. Let's look at the product side. We have 1 aluminum, we have 3 oxygen and 3 hydrogen. We have 1 sodium, 1 nitrogen, and 3 oxygen. Remember, we have oxygen in 2 places here. Little tricky. So a total of 6. But remember, leave the hydrogen and the oxygen until the end. So for now, let's not worry about it. Let us look at our aluminum. Okay, we got 1 on the left, we got 1 on the right, so we're good. Sodium, we have 1 on the left, 1 on the right, we are good. Now, so I guess we got to look at nitrogen. That's the other one. We have 3 nitrogen on the left, but only 1 on the right. So what we have to do is we have to fix that. What do we have to multiply the sodium nitrate by in order to get 3 nitrogen on the right-hand side? We have to give it a coefficient of 3. So I'm going to do this step by step with you. So if we do that, I'm going to write out this equation again. We're not doing anything to these ones yet, but I'm saying that we have to give sodium nitrate a coefficient of 3 in order to balance out the nitrogen. Okay, so we got to count again. We still have 1 aluminum, we have 3 nitrogen, 9 oxygen, 1 sodium, 1 oxygen, 1 hydrogen. Okay, we have 1 aluminum, 3 oxygen, 3 hydrogen. We have 3 sodium, 3 nitrogen, and 9 oxygen. So remember, the 3 applies to everything. Okay, now by putting the 3 here, we've now affected the sodium number. Okay, so now on the left we have 1 sodium. On the right we have 3 sodium. So what are we going to have to do with sodium hydroxide on the left-hand side of the equation? If you answered, we have to put a 3 coefficient before sodium hydroxide. You are right. So the next thing to do is to put a 3 before the sodium hydroxide. And that is now going to change all these numbers. It is going to change it to 3 sodium, 3 oxygen, 3 hydrogen. Okay, so by putting the 3 there, in order to balance the sodium, we've affected the oxygen and the hydrogen. Let's look at the numbers again. We're okay for aluminum. Nitrogen, we have 3, 3. We're good. Sodium, we have 3, 3. We are good. Let us now look at our oxygen. Remember, we see oxygen twice here. So we have 9 plus 3. That's 11. How many do we have here? 9 plus 3, 11. Awesome. Our oxygens are balanced. Let's look at our hydrogen. We have 3 hydrogen here. We have 3 hydrogen here. Look at that. We didn't even have to balance the oxygen and the hydrogen. It balanced itself when we worked with all the other elements. So So in this case, we have our balanced equation. It took a little bit of time, more than the easier ones, but we were able to solve it. Do it step by step. Count. Tricky parts are where you see the element more than once. Make sure you add those together on one side. Okay? Happened with the oxygen in this case. So don't forget to add, because the total on the left has to equal the total on the right. I hope that made this one a little bit easier. How about we try another one? And what you should probably try to do now is with this equation that I'm going to give you, pause the video after I give you the equation and try to see if you could solve it on your own, and then come back and figure out whether you're able to do it on your own. So let us try aluminum plus sulfuric acid to give us aluminum sulfate. And that's going to be 3 plus hydrogen gas. Okay? So, same steps as always. Count the atoms. Let's look at them. How many aluminum do we have on the left? We have 1 aluminum. We have 2 hydrogen. We have 1 sulfur. And we have 4 oxygen. On the right-hand side, we have 2 aluminum. We have, remember the parentheses, 3 sulfur, 12 oxygen, and 2 hydrogen. Remember, leave hydrogen and oxygen until the end when it comes to balancing. Let us look at aluminum. We have 1 on the left, we have 2 on the right, so we have to fix that. What would we multiply the aluminum with on the left in order to balance it? I'm hoping that you found that you had to multiply it by 2. So if we put a 2 before the aluminum, that would change this number right here, and only that one, because it's only for aluminum. Okay, so we have 2 aluminum, we're good. Let's look at sulfur. We have 3 sulfur on the right, we have 1 sulfur on the left, which means that we need to multiply sulfur by 3 here. And that happens by putting a coefficient of 3 before the sulfuric acid. So if we do that, once again, we must change these numbers. It's always important to remember to change the numbers. So how much hydrogen do we have now? We have 6. We have 3 sulfur, and we have 12 oxygen. Okay, so let's check again. Aluminum's still good. We have 3 sulfur, 3 sulfur. We have 12 oxygen, great, 12 oxygen. Oi, look what we got here. We have 6 hydrogen here and 2 here. So what now needs to get done? We need to balance out our hydrogens, which means we have to multiply this hydrogen. So what do you multiply 2 by to get 6? You'll put a 3. That will change the number of hydrogens we have to 6. And look at our glorious balanced equation. We now have 2 aluminum on each side, 3 sulfur on each side, 6 hydrogen on each side, and 12 oxygen on each side. And we are happy campers because we have now balanced our equation.